Hello there, I'm Timothy Linsdale, video producer and Christian, political cap and reporter on today. Trump came to town. What's that all about? Before I start here, like and comment on my videos, subscribe to support my channel, that'd be terrific. Okay, Trump came to town. I was thinking Trump coming to California. Well, California is a one-party state, leans left, Democrat control. Thinking, wow, what are they going to do? Have 10,000 people in the streets protesting? No, that apparently didn't happen. There was a few here and there. He came in to do a fundraiser. L.A., San Diego, here and there, and did that thing. And of course, as any president would, if he's got some success going on, he's going to chase that down and say, here I did this. What do you think? He's got to make his report. Of course, there was multiple issues. President coming to town. President raises money, praises barrier and visit. Of course, one of the big promises he had when he started this whole legend of Trump, if you will, was building a border wall. And since I live only about 2 miles from the border and some of that wall, I'm well aware of it, seen it progress, and seen the difficulties and changes that have gone on. He replaced the barriers, and he says they're virtually impenetrable. Well, I don't know about that, but they are pretty monstrous. At one time there was a barbed wire fence that ran on that border. Before there was nothing. And that was it. What we really need to do is stop shouting at one another and look back at the precedent set and why was there no problem before compared to now? Well, one of them is the people from all over the world trying to escape their mess and the hellhole of their country into the U.S. and the great successes we've had here. People need to, of course, examine why have we had successes. Some are going to blame it on slavery or enslaving those who come now or whatever. But there are fundamental reasons that it works. One big one is liberty. You're free to pursue happiness. That's a fundamental right. But anyway, he ends up down on the border, showing off that big fence. I'll show you some of the photos of the wall. I've been here long enough to see it go from the old landing mats that were leftovers from the Vietnam War to these big, giant steel structures of all kinds of shapes and double walls. You think it was the Iron Curtain. Some places it's massive. It's crazy massive. Up to the time they built what was called the big walls, Operation Gatekeeper. Before that, it was pretty sparse. Then they started putting up some pretty big structures, bringing in a lot more border patrol, and steadily reducing the problem. As I've said before, everybody had the problem. They had people in their yard at night, sneaking around, trying to hide from border patrol. I had one being chased, broke my my gate down, trying to get away. Didn't know where away was. And everybody had some experience with it down here because there were just so many pouring through. When they did Operation Gatekeeper to enforce the section from the ocean to about Tijuana, that a little bit beyond, actually to Otay Mountain. And that moved a big part of the traffic of individuals to Otay Mountain. Speaking of that, I made a film. I'll put a link in there for you on how Otay Mountain was turned into a wilderness area. It's a very rough piece of landscape. Beautiful place, though. People died on that mountain, even border patrolmen. It's a dangerous place as far as running around trying to escape anything. There are big fires up there, all kinds of issues. So they turn it into a wilderness area, give it more support and care, and try to preserve it. It is quite a place. Ancient Indian ruins up there, rare butterfly that everybody thought had disappeared is living there, multiple things. And so on it goes. Well, Trump had his tour of the wall, went down and said his usual We built that wall, signed the wall, the usual political thing most type politicians do. Um, had his fundraiser, and of course there was a raucous crowd. Those who were demanding blood, something like that. And those who are cheering, go Trump, make America great. Now the new saying that Trump's brought out, keep America great. So there it goes. It proceeds on. And does anybody it's just shouting at each other and all that whatnot. But it wasn't a lot of people. The people down by the actual fundraiser in the Grant Hotel was about 200 people, divided maybe between both sides, and that was about it. No rock throwing or stupidity. It seemed to be pretty calm. The same way in the other places he visited in Southern California. So way to go, California, not turning into some giant mess. And well, hey, not so bad. Of course, he touted the wall, the tremendous size of it, and I'll show you some photos I have. The one stretch he was by is 18 feet tall. Was finished last month at $147 million. And there's another one to be built that's 30 feet tall. These things are like square steel tubes, about that big, and close enough together you can't get between them. And then on top, they put these big, probably 4x8 sheet steel panels, I don't know, whatever they are, 1/4 inch thick on the top, so you can't get a hold of it. And I guess they've tested it by putting rock climbers on it, who are quite good at climbing things, see if they can get over it. Apparently they couldn't. But the thing that's really helped, I think, from what I've seen and in the news, Mexico has now made a National Guard. They're guarding the wall themselves. And of course, they're being threatened by the president with tariffs to do this. So anyway, it is helping, making it more difficult, stopping them at their southern border. It has to do with most of the immigrants coming out of Central America, trying to escape their mess down there. Sad stories, I agree. It's all miserable. One of the problems that makes with the asylee claims for asylum with people that come over the border is they say they're escaping gangs or a bad family thing, and that doesn't work. It has to be a direct oppression from a government that they're living under. That's the way the law is written. If you don't like that, go change the law. That would be the way you do things. Protesters from every angle. Yes, nobody likes the fact that kids being separated and all that noise, which has been done forever because that's the way we do things. It becomes a sudden shock because most people have never seen this thing. I've had an opportunity, and I know customs agents, and they've told me this has been the way they do things for a long time. They don't want to put kids in with adults in a prison, so there you are. So anyway, the walls going up in places. One of the things, they don't have to build that wall 100% end to end, because there are areas like on Otay Mountain that are so rugged and steep, nobody's going up them. So they kind of use that as a natural barrier, and then the places more accessible have the wall. And then they build quite the structures. I'll show you some photos of. They have these modular bridges they put in, and then they put in a road. It's quite a system. It's not just a blank wall out there. It's designed to be patrolled, and it is. Some of these areas near me are probably some of the most patrolled pieces of real estate in the world. It's pretty amazing. But so hopefully our governments can work together between here and Mexico and help to slow this down. If there's some way we could help that mess in Central America, maybe, I don't know. But customs agents, border patrolmen tell me it's not just Mexicans or Central Americans. It's also people from all over. Haiti, China, Central American countries. U.S. is still considered the promised land by many, no matter how much complaint you hear from people. One of the things is when Trump first got here, he landed at Miramar Air Station, a Marine air station near us, and which they have one of the biggest air shows in the world coming up. Anyway, he met the mayor of Escondido, or no, sorry, the mayor of Poway, and also the rabbi at the synagogue where they had another terrible shooting. The rabbi was wounded. The rabbi and the mayor had spoken to Trump, or he had called them after that shooting. And there seems to be a pretty good relationship there between the two of them, and between the rabbi and the mayor. So whatever there was peace there anyway, something of the sort. And then the fundraisers, they raised money and protesters outside, but it stayed pretty small. The one person that didn't participate in any of this was the mayor, Kevin Faulkner of San Diego. Okay, whatever. I'm sure there's some disagreement there. Much of San Diego and California has been moving to the Democratic side, to one party rule. Even though Faulkner's a Republican, he felt probably the pressure was too much for him, so he didn't go. Oh well. One thing I will hope he didn't talk about it, but I would hope that in his relationship with Mexico and whatever that's all about, is the river valley between Mexico and the U.S. Tijuana River Valley has got all kinds of pollution issues with sewer flow coming out of Mexico into that and ruining that environment and the ocean as it flows into the ocean just a few miles away. Hopefully they work something out to try to solve that mess. It's really ignored by the federal government, which doesn't make any sense because we got Border Patrol and Customs and people all over the place down there that see this stuff. That's one thing I wish they would definitely deal with. So anyway, there's a report about what Trump did, raised money, signed the wall, look what I did, the usual kind of stuff politicians do. And hopefully it helps, So on it goes. Like and comment on my videos, subscribe, support my channel, and get out there and just make it a great day, huh?